No one is going to say anything against the president. They can't. We won't. And that's the problem. I was told by the same member of Trump's team. This is reporting from Salon, and it's showing that there are leaks coming out of the White House that would suggest that his own people are now ready to leak their concerns about his mental health. Not only that, but his physical health. This is the beginning of the end for this guy. Let me break it down for you. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium and I predict politics. And let me just tell you, the puzzle pieces are fitting together. We have for your, I sometimes I feel like I'm literally in a court and I'm like, Your Honor, we would like to present this evidence, because that's kind of how it feels, right? The spirits, the energy gives us puzzle pieces, and then I watch to see how the timeline is going to come together, because everybody has free will. I can't make somebody do something. And if they haven't decided what they're going to do, then they've got a lot of options. Now, once they decided what they're going to do and they start taking steps towards that, then I can read that energy. They have literally told the universe, this is what I'm doing next. So these puzzle pieces are just that. Puzzle pieces telling us this is what's happening. And if you can tap into the universal energy, you can put these puzzle pieces together and come up with the beginnings of a picture. And that's what I'm going to help you with today. I have always seen this man being betrayed. My spirit guides have told me, sort of like the Caesar at two, Brutus, right? Like, you too, Brutus, you're going to stab me in the back too. I've always seen it coming down to betrayal. Now, here's where he's at. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about the felon, the guy who's the imposter in the White House. And I should say, before I finish saying anything else, allegedly and for entertainment purposes only. I'm just thoughts and impressions, folks. So here's what I think is going on. Well, first of all, they got him, the man that's in control of the army of the Red Cats, to pass the horrible, just unconstitutional, un-American bill. That's what their plan was. They got him to do their dirty work, much the same way that they got Elon to do their dirty work. Now that their dirty work is done, and they can blame it on Elon, they can blame it on the felon. Number one, they're scapegoats. Number two, now that this bill has passed, guess who it's really going to hurt? Yes, it is going to hurt humans. Yes, it's going to hurt citizens. But a predominant number of those will be red hats. And once they figure out that they themselves have been betrayed, they're going to go kind of berserk. And I've said this for many, last year. I read, this is how this is going to go down. His own people are going to be in the streets. I described this situation where the house is on fire and you're trying to wake them up and they won't wake up, and you're banging on the door, they won't wake up. Then some miracle happens and they wake up in their bed as the flames are very near to them, and they jump up out of bed screaming fire. We on the outside of the house have been screaming fire, but they didn't hear us. Now they're screaming fire because the fire is right there. And they rush out of the house past us, the people who've been trying to help them wake up. They run past us. They run to the streets. They run to the source of the problem. Their local, perhaps, elected's office. Wherever they go, I don't know. But they're mad because they've been attacked in their own kind of vulnerable place. When you're sleeping, you're super vulnerable. So they've been attacked in their vulnerability, and they don't want to hear from me that said, hey, I was trying to help you. I was trying to knock on your door. I was trying to get you to wake up. They don't want to hear that. Okay, so I'm telling you right now, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear nothing from us. And we shouldn't even try to talk to them. Let them run past you. Let them take the bull by the horns, so to speak. So now what we have is, now this is important, stay with me. What we have is the perfect storm, because one of the reasons why the felon has been so powerful is because of his cult. No one, it seemingly, could do anything to him because he could just whip them up in this fervor, and these people would show up, and these people would give money, and seemingly you could do nothing to them that would dissuade them from this task. But now their own house is on fire, their own bed is on fire, and they're mad, and they're going to go after those people, including the felon. Yes, I believe they're actually going to hold him accountable, because he's going around crowing about the bill. He's taking full responsibility for it. So, of course, again, he is the sacrificial lamb. So now what have they done? They've taken out Elon, they've taken out the felon, and they've taken out the cult. Now that they've done all that, and I'm not saying this is all happening today, obviously, I'm saying this is the beginning. This is the spark. This is the spark. Just watch as this unfolds. As his base starts saying, we don't care anymore. We're not voting for anybody. It's all bad. They're all bad. We were betrayed and lied to, and we're out. That gives them the opportunity to replace the felon. What I led this video with is leaks from his very people saying, gosh, we don't know what's going on with him. He's less and less in the Oval Office, and he's doing less, appearances. And we're kind of worried about him, but we can't say anything. So we're just going to leak this out. There are no coincidences. There are no, oops, that was an accident. I'm sorry. This person really took a big chance, because he said, we can't and we won't say anything. But he also said, this same person, this person who leaked to Salon, said, a member of Trump's team bluntly told me I'd lose my job if I talked about this publicly, or worse. Oh, what is he saying by or worse? I mean, what's worse than losing your job? Let's think about that for a minute, shall we? What's worse than losing your job? Losing your life? Is that what this person is talking about? Is this person talking about they've been threatened? And even though they feel like something worse could happen to them than losing their job, they're still on the phone, leaking the information. To me, that means that there's a payoff. There's a bigger payoff. Somebody else is saying, look, we're going to protect you. You're going to be fine. Link this to this source, and we'll make sure you'll be okay. Because otherwise, why would I do it? Do we really think these people have found some sort of patriotism somewhere? Do we really think that the very inner circle are the kind of people who would wake up one morning and say, gosh, it's July 4th. I better stop because I think that the country is losing its democracy. I don't think so. I don't think these are those kinds of people. I think these kinds of people are thieves. And they're the kind of people who, when a better opportunity comes along, well, they're going to go for it, right? Oh, you'll pay me double? Okay. Well, I don't even know that orange guy. What orange guy? Don't know him. So this is all part of the puzzle pieces that are coming together. They're leaking bad things about 45. This bill has gone through. It's going to be the end of 45. Now, I've said this all before, but let me just continue to say, of course, there is a war going on energetically, but also physically in the physical world, in which JD's people are not 45's people. They're not the felon's people. Never once did I ever think that the felon picked JD, because he didn't. First of all, the felon is a king complex. Kings don't have vice kings. Kings aren't worried about succession. They don't care about what happens after they're gone. All that matters is what happens while I'm alive. So he would never have picked somebody with as much power as JD does. He would have picked somebody like a Mike Pence that appears to be just well, look at the people close to him, right? They're people that are complete yes men. They're not trying to be on the stage. They're simply trying to be in his good graces. So I believe JD was forced upon him. So if so, why and by whom and for what purpose? Well, again, this is the leadership of the free world of the whole, this is the big enchilada, the big taco, not he's the small taco. This is the office is the big taco, right? So yeah, they want JD because that's their man, because he answers to them, the Peter Thiels, the Palantars, all of that stuff. World domination is what they want. So yeah, it's time, right? Like they're looking at their watch, they're going, yeah, it's time. It's time for this guy to be out. I have predicted, I really do see him going out in August. I would be incredibly surprised if he was here in October. You can't count this man out, because how many times have people tried to take him out? Look at all the court cases, his whole life, right? He's been able to slither out of the smallest crack and live to see another day. But this is not the same version of him. We all see his mental decline. We all see his physical decline. We see it. We've been seeing it. And now it's catching up to him. You can add more puzzle pieces. He's doing less and less appearances. This article that I will share in the description talked about how the Marine that's stationed at the Oval Office doesn't even show up until noon, or after. It sometimes doesn't show up until later in the day, meaning we don't need you because this man's not going to be in office today. He's here, but he's not going to be in the Oval Office. He's not going to work today, right? So there's all these things that are starting, these puzzle pieces, right? They're starting to connect. And you add into this energy that he is a useful idiot. As long as he could control the base, the red hat base, then he was useful. But he can't anymore, because they are going to be the ones that really feel this now. Even though the bill likely won't go into effect until a year or two, guess what? Rural hospitals are already saying, we're out, peace out. Hospitals everywhere, nursing homes. This is going to affect not just Medicaid people, it's going to affect everybody, because Medicaid is a big chunk of the budget that these places have. Again, the guides are saying, they said this a couple of videos ago, if you kick the legs out of a table, it's going to fall down. So you can't take a big chunk of Medicaid funding that maybe has nothing to do with you. You're like, I don't get Medicaid, I don't care. Well, guess what? That hospital counts that Medicaid as part of its budget. Take away 30% of your budget, that's a table leg. You're not very stable now. You're likely to pitch. You're likely to be unstable and fall down. Add to that the fact that minorities, anybody that's not white, doesn't want to go to work, even if you're a citizen, because they're pulling citizens off the street. You're not safe. Therefore, now their workforce is disappearing, whether they're legal or not. So this is a perfect storm of insecurity, and really, it's really meant to dissolve the foundation so that we can fix it. If you've watched me for a long time, last year, you will remember that the spirit guides kept saying dissolution, dissolving. We talked about Hollywood dissolving. We talked about media dissolving. Now we have Etsy dissolving, right? Because they have some vendors on Etsy that want to sell that merchandise with the alligator, whatever it is. And people are like, I'm not just going to cancel the alligator people. I'm going to cancel Etsy. People are over it. They truly are completely over it. Talk about a general strike. Well, the guides talked about this. They said people will just lose their appetite to buy things. They'll just stop. We're really, honestly, we're kind of depressed. We don't want to go out for that big vacation. We don't want to go do that remodeling. We're worried about our fellow citizens. We have a low grade worry about everything. That doesn't put you in the mood to buy things. And the interesting thing about this is the oligarchs, they think they can make us buy things. They think they can control us. They think just because they own Congress that they can do what they want with us, that they can disregard our rights, that they can disregard our votes. But guess what? We can disregard their products. Yeah, we have to eat. Yeah, we have to pay our bills, but that's it. And you want to know what? The lesson here is community. It's always been about community. Are we going to stand up for those people that are getting nabbed off the streets? Yes. Are we going to grow a big summer crop and then trade some of those vegetables for someone who can mend this shirt so I don't have to buy another one? Yes. Are we going to go to that local neighborhood guy that knows how to change the oil instead of going down to some corporate owned oil changing place? Yes. Are we supporting community in this way? Yes. Are we supporting each other? Yes. I just gave that guy $50 cash instead of paying the oil place $120. We don't need them. But this is all dissolving. It has to dissolve. It really does, because as I've said before, this whole country was built on slavery, on abject horrors, killing people, enslaving people, internment camps. I mean, this is how we started. And that horrible wound is now coming to the surface and saying, hey, you guys might want to look at this. You might want to really look at it. And it's coming before us, right? We're looking at it going, oh my God, this is terrible. We don't want this. And that's just the process of saying, we don't want any of this. We want community. We want universal health care. We want Medicaid. We want foster kids to be taken care of. We want racism to be addressed. We want reparations. We want our native peoples to be sovereign. We want our water to be clean. We want our food to be healthy. You know, these are not that big of things. You know, they're kind of basic, but you know, that's what we want. So this is what we get. This is what we get a chance to do when things dissolve. Because if you keep putting the dirt under the rug, well, the rug looks pretty, you know, but it's not really, because now you've got a whole bunch of stuff. You got an ecosystem of grossness living under your rug. And that's what we've been doing. And now Spirit is saying, we got to do some deep cleaning. We got to pull this rug back. So what happens is when the leaks come out, they sandbag him. 25th Amendment has to be done by the vice president. And I forget who else, but there's a group of people that can say this president is not mentally or physically able to hold the office. It's like a vote of no confidence. Betrayal. At two, Brutus. And then he gets to walk into the White House, which was the plan all along, but it couldn't happen because he had these frothy vigilante red hats, right? Like, you don't want to hit that wasp nest because all those wasps will come out and sting you. But now the wasps have left the nest. They're about to leave the nest because the nest doesn't work for them anymore. It's toxic to them. They got to get out. So this is an opportunity for them to strike. And I find these leaks being leaked on the 4th of July weekend to be very interesting, right? As soon as that bill passed, boom, the leaks came out. They're like, we got it. Now, the next two things I want to say is, so yes, I do see potentially JD being president. However, I don't see him being president for long, because right on his heels is justice and karma. There are things happening in the dark. And I'm going to say one more time, I think I've said this will be the third time, but I don't always say it because I'm channeling and I say what comes to me. Biden has no F's left to give. You have dishonored the military. That was a strike. That was a mistake. You've dishonored the American people. Oh no, now you're second strike. And now you pass this, you're abducting people off the street. Third strike, you're out. And Biden does things in the dark. I'm not saying that he's a dark person. I'm saying that, nobody should know your business, right? If you're busy taking care of something, sometimes you just want to do it when no one's looking because you're just busy. But also, guess who else does things in the dark? The intelligence community. And Biden was always the intelligence president. I always said it. He got more briefings than anybody else. He made personal friends with the intelligence career, those analysts. He made friends with the groups of them. He trusted them and he believed them. Now that's coming after 45's first term, when he didn't believe them and didn't want to have them around and replaced them. So Biden comes in, he's like, no, come on. I love you guys. I respect you guys. So of course they're going to respond to him with, okay, President, let me help you. So I'm just telling you that there's things going on behind the scenes. I know it. I feel it. Biden is involved. Will there be fingerprints? Probably not. Will we ever know? Probably not. But there are people that are working behind the scenes to sort this situation out, to separate Elon from the situation, separate the felon, separate Palantir potentially, or any other thing, whoever might be involved. I'm not saying these people are involved. I'm saying allegedly, maybe. But if they are, and it's found evidence of, not psychic, woo-woo, but evidence, that's going to hound JD. And I feel like that the one problem, that the one reason why no one has been able to tackle this situation, why the day that was announced, I told you it was rigged. From the very first hour, I told you it was rigged, okay? But why haven't they been able to acknowledge it? Why did they actively say that's crazy talk? Why did they actively sort of block any sort of investigations? Well, I'm going to tell you it's because of the red hats. Because if you unleash that, those red hats would have caused a civil war. 100%. A civil war. And you want to know what? A lot of people alive today would not be. So here's what happened. They bided their time. They knew, as well as I knew, you probably knew, this guy ruins everything. He's not a successful dictator. He's not a successful business person. He's barely a successful human being. And I don't even think that's true. I mean, as far as like living, beating heart, breathing, like the basics here, right? So they waited. And now that he's passed this bill, this is it. This is the final blow to his base. They now know that they've been hoodwinked, betrayed, lied to. And now that they're separated from him, he's vulnerable. Not only is he vulnerable to JD and whoever might be supporting that, but he's also vulnerable to justice. Now, everybody is able to jump on this bandwagon, not just JD, but the FBI, the CIA, other countries. For the whole reason why, because the red hats are going to stand down. They're going to stand down. Well, I take that back. I take that back. They're not going to stand down. They're going to attack. They're going to really go on the offensive to their own party, but they're going to stand down to society. All of their ire, all of their madness is going to be focused like lasers on very specific targets. That's a different story. Had they busted out with this and said, this is illegal, we're going to put her back in, she's going to be in office because she was won the thing, they would have started a civil war. And decisions were made. Decisions were made. We can't do it. We got to find another way to do this. Right? That kind of civil war could have gone on for 40 years. Imagine. Okay, so instead what's happened is they waited 7 months. 7 months, maximum 8 months. And then it all starts falling apart. Yes, there's a price to pay. There's a price for all of us to pay. All of us are paying a price for this, regardless, again, of whether if you're on Medicare or not, Medicaid or not, or just private health care. It's all going to be impacted. But that's the wake-up call that we all needed, because we weren't answering the phone call when Sandy Hook happened. When all these things happened, we went about our business. Sadder, yes, but we went about our business. We pushed it under the rug. And now there's a lump under the rug and we can't even walk over the rug anymore. We have to do something. What's under the rug is escaping and attacking us. Frankenstein, it had a life of its own now. So there is going to be some uncomfortable times. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. I mean, I can't guarantee this, right? But here's what I think is going to happen. I feel like the felon goes out. Well, this is one option. They're saying one option. The felon goes out, JD goes in. Then the red hats are mad at JD. They're mad at the felon. They're mad at all of their Congress people, and they're asking. And you're going to have to just take a chill pill, you and me, because they're going to be asking, why would you do this to us? I mean, it's going to take everything we have to not have, react. And that would be bad, because we don't want to react. Let them have their pity party. Let them have their crying and whatever. Let them do it on their own. Do not engage. That's my best advice. So JD goes in thinking he's going to rule the world, and he doesn't rule the world. And here is the reason, because all along I've been telling you guys that the oligarchs would be losing money. We talked about this, right? The general strike, but really it's just that people aren't buying anything. They're losing money. That's not acceptable, right? So I've said all along, they're going to go to some sort of conservative Democrat and they're going to say, let's make a deal. What do you want? Like, literally, what do you want? And that's why I always tell you guys, we have to keep our wits about us. We have to stay engaged, but not engaged in the toxic sludge, because we need to be able to call when everybody's sitting at the table. We need to be sitting at the table saying we want those things, whatever it is: universal health care, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, free lunches, reparations, whatever it is, the environment. If we're exhausted in a fetal position in a corner, then we can't be that voice. Somebody has got to be a voice to make these Democrats do what we want them to do. Okay? Now, that's what's stepping up here, because JD is not going to be mad about the big bad bill. He's not going to be mad about it. He's good with it. He's good with everything that went on. So that makes him the opposite end of the oligarchs who are losing money. They're not frenemies. They're not friends. They're enemies. And in the end, somebody has to convince Congress that, now listen closely here. Somebody has to convince Congress that there will be another ELECTION, and we found out how you all rigged it, and you're not going to be able to rig it again. So stop, you might want to stop being aligned with the White House, and you might want to be aligned with us, because we'll try to keep you out of prison. And here's the proof. We'll show you. We have the proof. You have your Orange King and your JD, and you've got whoever is rigging the system, and that's why you think you can vote for these kinds of bills, because you think you're never going to have to face your constituents again. You think you're never going to have to run again. So you're not worried about our money. You don't need our money anymore, right? You don't need our money anymore, because there's never going to be another VOTE. But we're going to tell you right now that we have more money than God. And we are going to make sure that you lose your position. And we're going to fill this whole place with Democrats. And here is how we're going to do it. So pick your side now. And that, my friends, is how all of this happens. That is how 45 goes out, the felon goes out. That's how JD goes out, because this doesn't work for the money, for the robber barons. Now, I hate to say, I wish I could tell you guys that somebody found some humanity, that somebody found some compassion or empathy, and they said, oh my gosh, I can't bear it anymore. No, that's a bunch of bull hockey. They don't give a crap about humans. Well, I take it back. Until the robots get here, they care about us in the sense that we work until we're 85 or die. But what they care about is their money. And now humans aren't buying their products. Their humans are depressed. Their humans are not reacting the way they normally react. When we send the messages, they don't react. They don't buy. So we got to fix this problem, right? And we think the problem is you, Republicans, and you, JD, and you, Orange King. So all y'all are going to go, because we would rather pay 10% more taxes and have our products bought, because when Biden was in office, we were selling things for double the price and people were buying them. So clearly, we can afford to pay a little more taxes. So do you understand how this is kind of setting up to happen? I'm not saying that this is going to happen this way. I'm saying, as I get the puzzle pieces, this is how they're fitting together for me. But if you have the White House leaking about his health on the 4th of July, right after the bill passed, I mean, come on. And this guy saying, whoever this person is, saying, I could lose my job or worse. What's worse than losing your job? I mean, seriously. So this person is really taking a big risk, because we know that when these leaks come out, there's going to be axes flying and people's jobs flying. So people are going to pay. So that's already going to create a kind of an ecosystem in the White House of pitting each other against each other, right? Because who said it? Did you say it? Did you say it? Now, a person like the felon, who's already paranoid and losing his mental grip on reality, now thinks everybody's out to get him. In his inner circle, they're talking about his health. This is going to further make him act crazy, which is going to further give JD the opportunity to take over, which is then going to knock down the wall of the Red Hats, which is then going to make a free-for-all for justice to come in and do something about this. So that's kind of how that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like is happening. I'm channeling, and I don't want to repeat myself. There could be an interim government of some kind that I cannot see. Again, if nobody knows, if nobody's thinking, if nobody's planning or scheming, I can't tap into it, because it's blank space. There's no thoughts in there for me to read. So there's potentials. I see potentials, right? I do see potentials, but this is a thing we've never seen. This is not something that the Constitution has provided for. For instance, I don't see Mike Johnson. I don't see Mike Johnson being in there either. So let's say JD goes, then it would be Mike Johnson. I don't see that. I don't see the Democratic speaker. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think that we could have something that is outside of the Constitution, which goes back to the dissolution. We're dissolving. All of the foundations are dissolving. And then we're going to be able to recreate them better. I know it's scary. I know it's horrible, but this is an opportunity. If we can keep our wits about us, if we can support each other, if we can keep some hope, this is an opportunity to have a better United States. This is an opportunity to have a better Constitution that better reflects who we are today and not who we were then. Because that was not fair. The Constitution was written, people were not all people, okay? So that this doesn't make any sense anyway. So yes, I think these are some big changes, and I don't think they're going to happen overnight. I don't think that once we get rid of JD and all these people, I don't see, well, we do have a form, they're saying you have to have a form of government. So perhaps there's a snap election, but what I really feel like is treason. That's what I really feel like. I really feel like there's going to be some sort of indictments around treason. And maybe we have a coalition government. I'm not sure. I just don't know how that's going to work. But the bottom line is this. We will have to, the government, I cannot see a way at this point right now where we are, where the private sector can carry the load, where the private sector can provide Medicaid type services, SNAP services. I can't see that. Now, we have some choices to make, right? Do we care about women in this country and their own bodies? Do we care about children? Do we care about people that aren't white? What do we care about? What are we willing to go to the mat over? Because if we're not willing to go to the mat over it, if we're not willing to come together, then that leaves us in a vulnerable position of chaos, because then there isn't any one way forward, right? But chaos is bad for business. Chaos is bad for the oligarchs. So they don't want chaos. Russia wants chaos. They want us to die. They want us to fall apart. They want our communities and our democracy to be horrible, to look bad. Because when you're China, you can explain to your people, wow, look at that. You thought you really wanted to go to the US, huh? Well, look at them now. Russia can say the same thing. North Korea can say the same thing. This helps them. Guess what? It doesn't help. It doesn't help the robber barons. It doesn't help them. So they're going to be trying to get control to calm everything down. That's why I think they're going to be amenable to going to the Democrats and saying, let's work a deal. How do we fix this? And they're going to go to the Republicans and they're going to say, get on board or else. We have evidence against you. We have evidence against you. Go to prison or get on board. What is your options? We have more money. We're outnumbering you. We're outclassing you. We're outpowering you. This is kind of how I see it going down. And yeah, I've said this last year. I've said all this last year. Go back and watch my old videos. I saw us having a clamp down of free speech. I saw us having a clamp down of our rights. I saw it this year, even when I thought Kamala was president, because I said she's going to be president over a divided country. She's going to be divided. She's going to be a president over turmoil, and she's going to have to be the law and order president. We need law and order. After they're gone, we're going to have a very strong law and order person. That means limited rights, It really does. It does not mean being abducted off the street, but maybe it means limited limitations on some speech, limitations on some gatherings. There's going to be a time when we understand that the Constitution is out the window and we have to simply keep the country together, keep the country operating again for the oligarchs, keep everybody buying, paying their mortgage, paying their rent, going to work. That's the most important thing for them. Chaos and war in your own country doesn't give you that. Okay, so that's why I think they're going to be the arbiters of the outcome of this. But in the end result, we have a real potential, and I said this even from last year, we have a real potential to get universal health care, to get the things we want. But we have to stay engaged. We can't give up. We have to understand that it's not over yet. It's just beginning. They made their move. Now it's our chance to make our move, because the MAGAs are going to be out in the streets and we're going to be with them. All of us together saying we want health care. You know, maybe we don't agree on racial issues. We probably don't. But there will be some areas where we agree with each other, and all of us together are going to push that issue over the edge. And we're going to get those veteran benefits, and we're going to get benefits that benefit all the races. And then our side gets to put our platform forward and convince people how important it is to not be against each other, how important it is to not nab people off the streets, how important it is that just because that person doesn't look like you or talk like you or even have your language doesn't mean they're not a human, and it certainly doesn't mean they're not a citizen. They're not your enemy. The enemy is over there, and we're all going to know who that is, okay? Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium. I have lots of things for you that you might be interested in, right? I have a free online community called Lighthouse Keepers Crew. It's not Facebook. It's not Meta. It's completely my thing. You can join it for free. Check it out. Join thousands of people who are there chatting every day, hanging out with each other, supporting each other. It's truly a community. If you're looking for something more, I'm on the other community, Magical Metaphysical Community, and I'm there with them 3 times a month. Oh, like 10 hours a month. I'm there with you, doing readings, doing all kinds of things with you. That is only $12 a month. If you're looking for your community, I have it. If you're looking for your local community, please find it. Please take an opportunity to find local people, and you might find out that you've got more in common than you thought. And if you're a blue dot in a red area, go online and look for your local Democrat club or start one, because we can't get through this if we're hiding out in our houses. We can't get through this if we're in the fetal position. We have to, the lesson here is community. You see it. I hope you understand. The whole lesson is community. The whole lesson is I'm not better than you and you're not better than me. We're all the same. And we're all going to help each other get through this, okay? Take really good care. Sending you much love, big hugs. We're going to get through this together. If you need help, if you need medical care, now's the time to reach out to your council, your city council, your governor, your local community. Start asking people to do fund drives. Community, 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 not isolation, okay? I'll see you again real soon. For entertainment purposes only,